YouTube, let's get into another tutorial. So today we're going to do a big chop on my guy. I wish I got a better 360 video for you guys to start out, but we're going to cut him down and take him down to a wavelength, or we're going to do a taper. So we always break the haircut down into 4 parts, and the first part is the prep work. So right now we're just picking through the hair, trying to get an understanding of his hair in particular, if there's any calyx or the texture of the hair and the growth patterns, because all this stuff matters when we take the client down to the desired length. The texture of the hair matters what type of guard we should go to for wavelength. And right now I'm cutting down his hair, but I'm not taking it down to the desired length yet because it's so much bulk. I won't truly be able to see his real growth pattern until I cut it down. So right now I have like a 2 open on there because he actually wants to go down to a 1.5 because he wants to start out with a darker wavelength level. And now I have on the 1.5, and since I got a better feel of how his hair grows, I'm just going with the grain, and I'm kind of starting from the crown area, and I'm just following the natural growth pattern. And this part is sped up just because it's really simple to understand. You should always just go with the growth pattern unless the client requests you not to. And when you're cutting down a big chop, the hair will be frizzy for most textures. And so I'll lay it down with some Nairobi and just lock it in with a blow dryer and try to run over at the end and clean up any frizz as much as we can. So right here, this is just a little bit of Nairobi. I'm just rubbing it in. I don't even necessarily brush it in. And then I just lock it in with the blow dryer. And lastly, we'll spray some spritz. And this will be the last part of our prepping, because by the time we're done doing the taper, it will be locked and loaded, ready to go. So for the taper, we put our initial guideline at the top of the ear, and we just line it up to the end of the eyebrow. So we remember this so we can use references and match it up to be symmetrical on both sides. Starting out with our taper, we have the lever open, and we're going to use a 2-guard system today. So we're doing lever open to start, and we immediately close down the lever to flick out that bottom guideline. And when we're placing our guidelines, we want to lay the clipper flat, but when we're fading out our guidelines, we want to use our corners and the ends of our teeth. And all the tapers today will be in real time, just so you guys can see. When you follow a system, it doesn't take long at all. So we immediately, after the no guard open, we jump to the 1.5 guard. And all we're trying to do is blend that top bulk down to that initial guideline that we put with the lever open. So here, we got that 1.5 guard on all the way open. We were just breezing past that top guideline, and we closed it halfway. And every time we close up that lever, we're going to go lower and lower in that taper. And check out my angles. I'm using my corners. I'm following the growth pattern. When we're doing our taper, you want to go against the growth pattern of the hair. So sometimes people's hair might grow sideways or whatever. It doesn't always go straight up and down. So you want to take note of that when you're doing your fading. And since we started with the half guard halfway open, which is kind of like a 1, we close it immediately to get that true half. And we'll just have to clean it up with our lever. With that lever, I'm definitely using my corners. I do not want to place another guideline in the hair at all. I'm just taking note if there's any dark spots, and that's a nice transition for you. So we'll do the exact same thing on both sides. And I want you guys to take note of how my system is so simple. I always like keeping things simple because you can always revert back to it when you get lost in the taper. It's easy to get lost in the fade if you're just throwing on guards and trying to see what's working and what doesn't work. When you have a system that you can follow and always revert back to, it makes the whole process super easy. And that's the number one thing I want you guys to take from these tutorials is you don't have to overcomplicate it. Simple is very effective. And along this whole process, one of the best things you can have is patience. Having delayed gratification, continuing to show up each and every day and putting in the work. I remember it was times when I was first starting, especially trying to build my clientele, that I might have passed out a bunch of cards and tried to reach out to folks, and my chair just was not spinning at all. Each and every day I tried to show up. I tried to watch a tutorial. I tried to watch an educational video on expanding my business. And over time it flourished. So have that mindset with not only cutting hair, but just also in life in general, whether that's expanding your business, expanding your mindset, because it always comes over time. And I'm going to pull up a picture of, it's a thing called the plateau of latent potential. And it says that what actually happens and what you think happens between the two is a valley of disappointment. So you might think something is going to pop off faster than it actually will. But what you'll notice is what actually happens is over time, things will take off exponentially faster than you imagine once you keep putting the work in, dedicating the time, and sacrificing to get where you want to go. So that's something I want you guys to always remember and just apply that to different areas of this whole industry and your processes and your life in general. So to finish out the back taper, it's the exact same thing. I'm making sure I'm putting my first guideline with where it's reasonable at, given the length of his neck. So if you have a client with a longer neck, you want to kind of put the guideline higher a little bit because you want to make it seem not as noticeable that your client has a longer neck. And if someone has a shorter neck, you want to try to save as much space as possible. And this is just trying to work towards the head shape of your client, trying to make each haircut unique to each and every client. And as you cut, you always want to comb. This will remove the excess hair and just show you what you're actually cutting. We're targeting all those dark spots, trying to blend it back down to our initial guideline. Every time we close the clipper, we go lower in the fade. And remember, you don't have to be so robotic with your process. Right here, I'm blending down a little bit. So I'm taking the guard that I'm using, which is slightly lower, and I'm just blending down, which is helping me smooth out my fade. Another thing too, I'm a preacher every video, is you don't have to make it too perfect before you move on to doing your lineup, because after you do the lineup, you can come back and do the detail work. So you mainly want to make sure you're relying on the process. Once you go through your full process, move on to the next step, because you can easily get held up in the fade or in trying to make the lineup super perfect first go around. Just trust your system. So we started with the prep, and then we just completed our taper, and now it's time to move on to the next step, which is the lineup. And right here is what I was talking about. I'm just smoothing some of the frizz out since I'm right here and I'm about to line them up anyway. I'm just utilizing what's in my hand. And when starting out with our neck lineup, take note of where is the furthest point you can line them up naturally, and start right in the middle and just connect the bottom and the top to that middle reference. Use the ergonomics of the clipper to wrap around the ear. Use the corner of the blade, which will make it much easier for you, and have good finger placement. You can't really notice, but I am using my finger on the client's skin as balance. And I love how a good lineup just makes that taper start to really pop. We always comb in the lineup as we cut as well, to get any extra hairs that's sticking out, so we can make sure the lineup is lasting a long time for the client. Over here doing the same thing, just smoothing it down a little bit. Letting the lineup naturally come to me. I'm not trying to force anything here. I'm not trying to be too cosmetic at all. You see how it's naturally just coming together. And on the front, for the lineup, we always want to visually check our mirror and take note of any imbalances, so we can kind of attack that area first. And so I like to start out on the vertical bars, which gives me a good reference on both sides to make the lineup symmetrical as possible. And once I place one vertical bar, I just match it to the other side, taking note of where that vertical bar falls at, align with the eyebrow or the corner of the eye, whichever one makes sense for you. So here I get to the other side, I take note of my reference, and I'm just placing that vertical bar in there. Today, just to switch it up a little bit and show you guys, when you're using references, balance still can be achieved and you don't have to be robotic. I'm starting out with the C cups before I do the top line. Same thing still applies though. Once I place this first C cup, I will reference it to the other side. And you can do that by using the comb. You can place the comb at that top part of the C cup and use a level as the comb. Use the comb as a level, I'm sorry. And just balance it right to the other side. And right here, this is exactly what I'm saying. I just use that comb like a leveler so I can match it up to the other side. Double check. A lot of cutting hair is about understanding angles, using reference points. And I didn't speed up too much of this video for you guys today because I just want you guys to see how I'm taking my time. I'm being efficient, but I'm not rushing. I'm using my references, I'm using balance, and I'm just letting the haircut come to me. Here we started in the middle, and we're just walking it down, walking that line up down to each corner, visually checking, making sure it looks balanced. Simple, we just lock it in at that nice 90-degree angle. And we'll do the same thing to the other side. That's a nice and sharp corner. You can always visually check your mirror to make sure you're achieving that symmetrical lineup on both sides. And now, to really start our detail work, we're going to hit them with the razor, and we're going to go back and check our tapers out and make sure there's no dark spots popping out. When we use our razor, we're pulling the skin and we're making sure we're gliding the razor at a 30-degree angle. We're not forcing the razor to glide, it should naturally glide. All we're doing here is adding a little more longevity to the haircut. Some people think it's just cosmetics, but the razor does actually add life to the haircut. And when we do our detail work, we're just using the corners. If we want to throw a guard on there, we can, just as safety, so we don't add any more lines or imperfections to our taper. But this was an overall pretty clean big chop. But YouTube, that's pretty much the cut, and nice and clean and efficient taper. If you guys are looking for more simple haircut tutorial videos, we don't overcomplicate things over here. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions and concerns, please drop a comment below and I'll be sure to get right back to you guys. That's the cut right there. Yes, sir. I'll catch you on the next one, YouTube.